Greetings everyone, welcome back to my sketchbook. A few videos ago, I was working on like a doodle kind of tribute thing to Jimmy Page. And, going back through magazines and thinking, oh yeah, just because it related to stumbling into this album. And I guess I forgot that this existed. So there you go. That's a picture of David Coverdale and Jimmy Page together, which is kind of neat. Anyway, so today's a weird day, but I thought I'd show you something else. So this is Slash, who is a awesome guitarist, and it just so happens today is his 60th birthday. It is still Shark Week, so I thought, I don't know, let's see if I can just doodle something in relation to Shark Week and Shark Fest with Slash. Now, this is going to be weird. I don't know what it's going to look like. It could be, yeah, I don't know. I have an idea that I might try, because I already did sort of like a drawing of a shark that, has a bit of a body of a person when I drew that picture. I don't know. My brain's a little bit weird right now. Anyway, let's zoom in on this. Maybe not so much. Let's go back out to here. So yeah, I drew a picture of the Naue. Let's see if we can get a version of a Slash, but we'll try to make this a little more cartoony, I suppose. The thing that I'm kind of running through my head now is, how do you get a shark to wear glasses? Sunglasses. Oh well. So Slash is an icon, of course, and awesome in concert. And has a very distinctive kind of look. Almost like as if you, well, if you had a way, I suppose, to have a stage presence, and maybe you could kind of, but not really, disappear with it. So, I mean, he's very recognizable without his hat. Well, that's what we're going to draw him with anyway. As far as him smiling like this, well, I don't know if I would picture. Well, let's just say this is more of like a shark just paying tribute, because I don't really picture a Slash smiling like this. It's a lot of teeth I'm giving this thing. Anyway. I kind of feel like this is not really going the way I really want it to. That's okay. It's kind of what you do in your sketchbook, right? You just sort of flesh out ideas. And sometimes you can work them until they become something. And sometimes there's not much you can do with them. And now I'm getting an idea that probably would have worked out better. Yeah. It's really strange. Not every day in your sketchbook has to be perfect, and certainly is not in mine. I'm just kind of pushing through. Yeah, I don't know why the passing of Ozzy Osbourne seems to be kind of floating in my head the way it is. It's a remarkable thing that, in a way, for him as a performer, he got to say his goodbyes the way that he did. So his last concert would have been the 5th of this month, July 2025. But yeah, this is just weird because you kind of think that you might have more time. And I doubt very much he had tons and tons of regrets, but I'm sure that he would have wanted more time. Because I think he lived his life the fullest way possible. You know, if he needed an opportunity to ride a four-wheeler, well, he took it. And if he needed to talk to somebody, he made the time to do that, you know? I think that's important. This isn't fixing everything that I don't like about this. But it's filling it in a little bit. Now, up here we'll just kind of print in something. So yes, today Slash turned 60, and I remember when Appetite for Destruction came out. What a wild thing that was. So I remember sitting around with my schoolmates. I didn't own the album at first. Somebody else did. And yeah, I remember just listening to it and thinking, like, it was kind of like punk rock, you know, like it was fun, and of course it had a couple of ballads on there. Yeah, it had all this attitude, bravado, as some might say. Now, one of the strange things about playing the guitar is that you don't often get lead guitarists who sing as well. And I have sort of a theory on that, although I don't think it's really a theory. I think it's probably pretty well known. I mean, other than, you know, people who pick up the acoustic guitar for campfires and stuff like that. Lead guitarists spend a lot of time by themselves practicing and that sort of thing, that they don't really focus on the range of their own voices. In fact, they try to figure out the range of the instrument. And that's how they hear the music after a while. So they understand that their own voice has certain limitations, whereas the guitar has more of a range, and I think they prefer having more of that range. At least that's the way I feel about even my own voice. I don't know. If I have to, I suppose, I do sing, but I don't really, really sing. And yeah, no, I've spent a good chunk of my time learning the guitar, so I don't really have that in me. So yeah, this is kind of a messy doodle going on here. One that I could very easily just abandon. But I'm not going to. I'll recover some of it as best I can. Which again is one of those secrets, I suppose. That if you can just take time and don't feel like you've wasted it. And something awesome with Slash is that he's also been a fantastic guest guitarist on a lot of people's albums, including Ozzy Osbourne. And getting back to the idea of, someone's voice, that's how I hear his voice, is with the guitar. There's certain guitarists that when you hear them play, you kind of know it's them. Like I feel that way about Ed and Eric and Jimmy, and so yeah, you know who they are. And Slash has a very unique sound as well, so now I don't remember. What was I going to say about something? Yeah, no, I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, no, maybe I already said it. I don't know. He played on Alice Cooper's albums as well. Actually, I think he's been all over the place. Michael Jackson did music with Michael Jackson. I remember hearing one of those, or reading one of those stories that he would have showed up one time without his hat, and Michael made a sad face because, you know, it's kind of part of that recognition. It's like, you know, he didn't bring his costume. So back in here in the mouth of our slasher shark. And I'm not going to go too much further here because, you know, doodles don't have to be a 4-hour thing. And maybe some of these teeth we don't need. We get it. It's a shark. So far, I've not included blood in my doodles with sharks because I kind of feel like it's unnecessary, because that's kind of, well, when you picture a shark, you picture it eating. And it's not always, sometimes it's just nice to not have to think of it eating, because, you know, I'm made of meat and I don't like to think about getting bit by a shark. Now, I don't know about some of you and how you might feel about horror movies. I was fascinated by horror movies, but not for the gore of it. With most movies, I've always been a big fan of how they figure out the special effects, especially the practical stuff. You know, like making mannequins and stuff like that. Anyway, so no, I've always been a fan of the practical effects. CGI is pretty cool in a lot of ways because it's a little less messy. But practical effects, I'm probably going to mess up the name, but Tom Silvani is pretty famous. And if you were around in the 80s, you probably saw like magazines like Fangoria. I don't even know if I own a copy of that anymore. This might be one of those things from my childhood that may not exist anymore. But you know, you'd watch Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or The Evil Dead. There were a lot of like icons of that time period, and even movies that in a lot of ways people don't really just consider as horror movies. Like Alien. So I don't know what you guys think of whatever this is. Let me know in the comments. If I kind of pull it out a little bit, because yeah, I don't know, I didn't really like it at the very beginning. I'm liking it a little bit more now as I kind of add a bit more personality to it. I don't think there's any need of putting Slash's hair on the shark. Let's see if that's... So yeah, well, if you can, find some music and see if you can find Slash's voice, because he has a lot to say. I think that's going to be it. I don't know if there's anything more that I can do for a doodle like that. I mean, there's always something you can do. Like, you know, I probably could have made that part of the tail a lot thinner. I could have had a Gibson guitar here. All right, folks. Well, that's it. Happy birthday, Slash. Everyone else, happy, awesome day to each of you. And yeah, no, I hope we'll see you at some point in the near future. All right. Ciao for now.